बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। मोहतरम नाज़रीन कराम, अस्सलाम वालेकुम रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुहू। हजारों साल नरगिस अपनी बेनूरी पे रोती है, बड़ी मुश्किल से होता है चमन में दीदावर पैदा। मोहतरम नाज़रीन कराम, आज हमारे साथ उम्मत मुस्लिमा की एक ऐसी दीदावर शख्सियत मौजूद हैं जिन्होंने अपनी फहम फरासत से न सिर्फ अपने मुल्क व कौम की हालत व तकदीर बदली, बल्कि आने वाले वक्तों और हमारे रहनुमाओं के लिए एक जिंदा मिसाल कायम की। आपकी अनथक शब-रोज़ और पुरखुलूस मेहनत और मोहब्बत ने मलेशिया को न सिर्फ बामे उरूज पे पहुंचाया, बल्कि इसको हकीकी मानों में एशियन टाइगर के तौर पे उभारा। आप किसी भी तारुफ के मोहताज नहीं हैं। आइए मिलते हैं जनाब काबिल सद एहतराम मोहतरम डॉक्टर महातिर मोहम्मद साहब से। अस्सलाम वालेकुम
वालेकुम सलाम।
So thank you very much for giving me time from your busy schedule, and it's really an honor for me to be with you at this time.
You're welcome.
So let's start with our relationship, Pak-Malaysian relationship. So how do you see them now? Where do we stand now?
Well, we have one short period during which there was a break because our representative in the UN sort of spoke favoring India. But after that, we have patched our relationship. Now the relationship has been good for very many years. And we regard Pakistan as a brother Muslim nation.
So how do you see the future of Pakistan, especially with the confused government, total economic chaos, and also it is being attacked from eastern western borders. We are also under attack by the AFPAC doctrine. So what do you see the future of Pakistan?
Well, when Pakistan was founded, we thought that it was going to be a great Muslim nation. Unfortunately, you have not been able to achieve progress and development. And mostly it is due to your inability to live together like good Muslims. Muslims are brothers, but you practically disregarded the fundamental teachings of Islam, that we are all brothers, that you may be different from us, you pray your own way, we pray in our own way. We have to be tolerant. That is what Islam is all about. But we are not tolerant. We fight and kill each other. Even when people are praying, we show no respect, we kill, and they in turn kill you. So now it is difficult to make progress because it is the crowd in the streets which determine the future of Pakistan.
So what would you like to advise Pakistani leadership, keeping in mind that we are the only Muslim power, a nuclear power, and we are also under attack of Yugoslavian style of plot to break Pakistan and divide into pieces?
The need is for all the people of Pakistan, not just the leadership. The leadership cannot succeed unless the people support the leadership. I don't expect the leadership to be perfect. Always they will make mistakes. But we need to be tolerant for minor infringements. On the other hand, if you allow the policies of Pakistan to be governed by people in the streets, then obviously people in the streets do not work according to rules and regulations. They express their feelings. And if we allow ourselves to be influenced by pure feelings and not our capacity to think and evaluate things, I think it's difficult for Pakistan to achieve peace and stability. Without peace and stability, there will be no progress.
Okay, sir. So Kashmir is our jugular vein, and it is point of conflict between India and Pakistan. So how do you see this conflict? What is your perspective about Kashmir?
Well, I don't agree with what happened, of course, but we are not in a position to solve the problem at this moment. What is more important today is to create a better Pakistan, to focus more on what is happening in Pakistan and to stabilize it, develop it, and make it a powerful country. Then you can talk to India, you can decide what to do about Kashmir. But at this moment, all you do is you fight and kill, and they fight and kill. That's all.
So you mean that we have to emphasize on our infrastructure and development of the country?
Yes, very much so.
So do you see any similarities between Kashmir and Palestine, as these both lands of Ummah are being occupied by hardcore Zionist organizations and regimes?
Well, there is a lot of similarity. But I feel that over 60 years, the Palestinians have struggled, have resorted to violence, have not achieved anything. There is a need now for you to pause and to rethink your strategy. How do you manage the problem of Palestine, and how do you manage the problem of Kashmir? I think fighting each other is not going to solve any problem.
So we all know your views about Zionism, whether it is Christian Zionism, Hindu Zionism, or Jewish Zionism. You have been very clear, and mashallah, you have been raising your voice time to time against the atrocities of Muslim lands. So what is the solution for Kashmir and Pakistan?
The solution?
Yes. And Kashmir of Pakistan, and of course Palestine also.
Yeah, the thing is, we have employed different tactics. Violence, we have tried resistance. Arafat has introduced a form of resistance against it, but they have not worked. So it is time to pause and find out why the present strategy does not work. And we have to think up of new strategies. One of the things I notice is that Palestine and the Arabs are not do not care to make friends with people who are supportive. You see, if you go to European countries, you live there, and you commit acts of terror there, what they call acts of terror there, they're not going to be sympathetic towards your cause. So we must be friends, and also the minds of the people. But first, evaluate the situation properly, scientifically, with her emotion, and then devise a new strategy. I think it would be better for both Pakistan and Kashmir, and also the Palestinian situation.
So what would you suggest? Shall military powers like Malaysia, Pakistan, Turkey can make a peacekeeping force to avoid these type of conflicts like Rohingya, Palestine and Kashmir?
We can, but we are not big powers. We are subject to international law and the like. And as you know, the United Nations is beholden to those 5 countries, and they cannot really make decision. We need to, accept that we are weak. We need to find perhaps not a military approach, but more a diplomatic approach.
More diplomatic approach to resolve these conflicts.
Yeah.
But so all diplomatic approaches and resolutions have been failed.
Yeah, that is true, but there are still other areas that you can think up. And as I said just now, there are a lot of people in this world who are very sympathetic towards us, but we have not cultivated that sympathy that they have for us in order to add to our strength.
So what is the reason that Muslims find nowadays themselves in this mess? Entire Muslim world is facing the same entire crisis, like no power, no education, no knowledge, no political stability, chaos everywhere. Even despite of having wealthy resources, all the natural resources and human resources as well. So what do you think, what went wrong?
What went wrong is that we have deserted the teachings of Islam. We pray, we fast, we commit, we give zakat, and then we perform the Hajj. But beyond that, we are not actually behaving like Muslims. We kill each other, we don't regard each other as brothers, we don't emphasize iqra, to learn, to acquire knowledge, we don't understand the way of life as advocated in the Quran. We have, in fact, we have stopped following the teachings of the Quran. We follow the interpretation of many different interpreters. And they interpret differently for their own purpose. And now because of their different interpretation, we are in conflict with each other. But if you are really good Muslim, you must regard other Muslims as your brothers. You must not fight each other. You must resolve any conflict between you by having a third person deciding or becoming arbitrator. And there are so many things in Islam, in the Quran, which we don't follow.
You mean we have to revive Islam in its core essence?
Yeah, well, Islam came to us in the form of the words of Allah, Muhammad, and that is in the Quran. Other people later on write a lot of books and kitabs and all that, but the main source of guidance for Muslim is the Quran. We should go back to the Quran. You should understand the Quran, not just read it in Arabic, which you don't understand. You must understand the contents of the Quran. I read the Quran in my language and in English, and I find a lot of guidance there. Everyday life, even if you are doing business, even if your weighing machine must be very good and not cheat your customers, all these things are in the Quran.
Right, very much right. So currently Muslims are facing existential crisis right now, the same which we faced during the times and invasions of Mongols or the Crusaders from the West. There is no leadership, or within from our Ummah, we have having a crisis of Khawarij right now. So what do you see the future? How do you see the future of Ummah right now, Muslims?
At the moment, I cannot foresee a good future at the moment. But there will be a good future if we all return to the original teachings of Islam and abide by it. You see, it's no good just preaching that you should do this and that, but you don't do. You see, so I don't know. I don't know about how people read the Quran, but I read it in a language I understand, and I gain a lot of guidance from that.
So do you see any rise of leadership within Muslim countries in future?
You don't allow for a rise in leadership. If some leader comes up with a good idea, you get rid of him. You want to do your own way, you want to continue doing the wrong things. You assassinate him. And, one of my friends is Hariri, and he rebuilt Lebanon. And what do they do to him? They kill him. Any Muslim leader who is trying to reform will be killed.
So then what should be the strategy of Muslim leaders?
Strategy of Muslim leaders is to correct the wrong teachings of Islam. Good leaders should be willing to use education to really get the people to know what is Islam, what is his teaching, and to live as good Muslims.
So how do you see the role of OIC in these times of chaos? What do you expect from them?
Not much. They cannot agree on anything.
Singapore.
And we have to use consensus. Consensus means that if one country doesn't agree, you can't do anything. So in the OIC, we want to achieve consensus, which we cannot. So in the end, it becomes totally, well, ineffective.
So do you foresee any new war coming to Muslim countries?
Well, I mean, when you are weak, people might just walk in and take over your country. You know, at one time, the Muslims were very powerful. They built a great Islamic civilization. They were powerful and they were able to look after themselves. But at one time, they neglected any other knowledge than religion. They discarded the learnings of the great scientists, the great physicians of the past, and they thought that they should concentrate on learning about religion. And because of that, they don't have any knowledge on how to use science in order to invent weapons that can protect us. So now we are dependent upon others for our protection. We don't have the capacity. That is our fault.
So we have emerging threat from the eastern and western borders, and we have another threat of ISIS in Afghanistan under the protection of US and India. So what should be our military strategy? How can we manage that new threat? In fact, we are already having a problem in the shape of Taliban in Pakistan. So what should be our military strategy?
Yeah, Taliban, I believe, is due to their wrong understanding of Islam. Killing people is not Islamic. To kill fellow Muslims is not what we are taught. So we need to develop a population that understands what is the true teachings of Islam. Of course, that may take time. I understand that. But it is much more permanent if we are correct in the way we administer our countries. At the moment, Islamic countries are not well administered. For example, they really do not understand democracy. And when they become democratic, everyone wants to be the ruler. And if anybody goes up, they pull him down. And they go up, they get pulled down also.
Okay. Sir, you just spoke regarding the democracy. In Pakistan, democracy has failed. It didn't deliver. So, what would you say if a technocratic government comes and it takes over for a longer period of time, like 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, and they rebuild Pakistan, and then they hand over back to the democratic elections and democratic powers? Will it work?
It may work provided the people accept it. If the people start trying to pull down these people, even assassinate them, of course it will fail. Most technocrats, most educated people really do not want to lead any country because they are exposed to assassination. See, they live in other countries, they live in America, they contribute to the knowledge in America, but they don't contribute towards your own country because your country is not hospitable towards people, learned people and all that. You have to obey, you have to follow the current interpretation of how a Muslim should look like.
So are you ready for coming elections?
Yeah, there is a coming election in Malaysia. We have a big task because we need to change the government.
Yes. You have been raising your voice against the corruption and all these things.
Yes.
May Allah heal you. So at the end, what is your opinion regarding the current situation in all over the Muslim Ummah one more time, and what do you suggest for Muslim leaders?
Yeah, it's the same thing. I think we need to go back to the teachings of Islam. We are really not good Muslims. We pray, we fast and all that. But in terms of obeying the injunctions of Islam, we are very far behind. In fact, non-Muslims practice the teachings of Islam more than Muslims.
So what would you advise to the young generation of Pakistan?
Equip yourself with good knowledge. Understand the religion that you follow.
Thank you very much, sir. Thanks for your time. And it was really a pleasure to be with you at this time.
You're welcome.
नाज़रीन कराम, जैसा कि आपने देखा डॉक्टर महातिर मोहम्मद साहब की बहुत इंतहाई मुदल्लिल और शुस्ता गुफ्तगू और बरजस्ता ख्यालात का आपने इजहार फरमाया और आपने बताया कि दीन इस्लाम की तरफ रुजू करना ही हमारी कामयाबी है और इंशाल्लाह हमारी तरक्की का राज दीन इस्लाम और कुरान शरीफ की तालीमात में ही पिन्हा है। मैं दुआ करता हूँ कि अल्लाह दोबारा महातिर मोहम्मद साहब को मौका दे और वो दोबारा कुव्वत में आए, पावर में आए, ताकि वो दोबारा से अपनी मुल्क व कौम की खिदमत करें और उम्मत मुस्लिमा के एक बेहतरीन दरख्शंदा तारे के तौर पर दोबारा उभर के सामने आए। सूरज आया से तलहा रजा को इजाजत दीजिए। अस्सलाम वालेकुम।